1944, 0600 hours. Camp Aliceville, Alabama. Captain Robert Morrison's hands didn't shake as he reviewed the medical chart. They never did. 18 months as chief medical officer, he'd seen everything combat could throw at human bodies. Shattered bones, burned flesh, men whose insides had become outsides. But this made his blood freeze. Patient, Elise Weber, age 26, height 5 feet 6 inches, weight 87 pounds, body mass index 14.0, diagnosis severe acute malnutrition, stage 3, estimated survival without intervention 4 to 6 weeks, 87 pounds, for a woman 5'6", normal weight for her height 120 to 140. She was missing 50 pounds of tissue. Her body was consuming itself to stay alive. And she wasn't alone. 34 women. Average body mass index 14.2. Normal range 20 to 22. Morrison walked to the window. Outside, November sunlight painted the Alabama countryside gold and rust. Peaceful. Beautiful. But inside this office, the war had followed him home. He'd seen the intelligence photos from liberated camps, skeletal prisoners, bodies stacked like cordwood, evidence of systematic starvation. Those were Nazi atrocities, enemy crimes. But these women were in his camp, under his care, American custody, dying the same way. The irony burned. He could lose more prisoners to starvation in Alabama than the Wehrmacht lost in combat. A knock. Lieutenant Francis Dalton entered, chief dietitian. 6 months working together. Competent. No nonsense. Captain. Preliminary assessments complete. She set a folder on his desk. Face carefully neutral. Tension in her jaw. Edema in 31 of 34. Protein deficiency. Amenorrhea in all subjects. Menstruation ceased 6 to 18 months ago. Hair loss, cognitive impairment, hypothermia. Universal. Morrison opened the folder. Medical photographs for documentation. The women looked like intelligence reports from Dachau. Visible ribs, sunken eyes, arms like sticks. He closed the folder. Tell me about Weber. Dalton flipped through notes. 26, trained nurse. Rommel's Africa Corps, Tunisia. 18 months on combat rations. Moldy bread, watered soup, sometimes nothing. Captured May 1943. 6 months in processing camps. Algeria, Morocco, Atlantic crossing. Lost another 8 pounds during transport. She expected to die, sir. In an American camp, she'd made peace with it. The words hung between them. Morrison stood. Outside, well-fed American soldiers moved between buildings. Men who complained about mess hall food because they'd never known real hunger. These German women had crossed an ocean expecting death. From America. From him. Lieutenant, standard protocol for POW rations. Same as US troops, sir. 2,000 calories per day. Geneva Convention requires adequate food and medical care. Morrison's voice went quiet. Their bodies cannot process 2,000 calories. Sudden feeding causes electrolyte collapse, phosphate and magnesium crash, cardiac arrest, respiratory failure, death within 72 hours. Refeeding syndrome. Yes, so following regulations kills them, and not feeding them kills them. Yes, sir. Then we need a protocol that doesn't exist. They worked through the morning. Morrison, Dalton, Sergeant Louise Harper from the kitchen, Private Margaret Winslow from Red Cross joined to document. Morrison drew the plan on a chalkboard like battle strategy. Week 1, 1,200 calories per day, liquids and soft foods. Their digestive systems need time to wake up. We monitor weight, vitals, mental status 3 times daily. Week 2, 1,500 calories. Add protein gradually. Week 3, 1,800. Introduce fats carefully. Weeks 4 through 12. Gradual increase to 2,200. Target, 1 to 2 pounds weight gain per week. Maximum safe rate. Dalton took notes. Harper raised her hand. Sir, what foods? Standard rations, but if their stomachs are damaged, easily digestible, high calorie density, protein and fat without requiring much chewing. He turned to Dalton. What do we have in surplus? Dalton left, returned 5 minutes later carrying a glass jar, brown paste inside.
Peanut butter.
Morrison examined it. Explain. 2 tablespoons equals 190 calories. 7 grams protein, 16 grams fat. Easy to digest, doesn't require chewing. And sir, we have warehouse surplus. Farmers grew too many peanuts for war effort. Government bought the excess. We're literally throwing it away. Morrison calculated. 4 tablespoons daily per woman. 380 calories from one source. Measurable, controllable. Yes, sir. Can their stomachs handle it? Dalton's voice went quiet. My family survived the Depression on peanut butter, Captain. 1932 to 1934. Father's farm in Alabama. We had nothing else. Banks failed, crops failed. But peanuts grew. We ate peanut butter every meal, 2 years straight. Some days, peanut butter on bread was all we had. My brothers complained. My mother cried. But we survived. When other families lost everything, we held on. Because of peanuts. She looked at the jar. I know it works.
Not from a textbook, from experience.
Morrison set the jar down, made his decision. Peanut butter becomes part of the protocol. We start tomorrow. November 12, 1944, 1200 hours. Elise Weber stood in the processing line with 33 other women. She'd pulled shrapnel from screaming soldiers in 115-degree desert heat. She'd eaten rations so moldy they turned her stomach green. She'd watched men die with nothing but sand for graves. She thought she'd seen everything war could show. Then America gave her a clean bed. The barracks were wooden, solid, with roofs that didn't leak, beds with actual mattresses, showers with hot water, a medical clinic with equipment and supplies. This is supposed to be a prison? She said in German. Claudia Brenner, 22, signals operator from Hamburg, shook her head. It's a trap. American tricks. They'll photograph us looking comfortable for propaganda. Then the real treatment begins. Claudia was a true believer. Nazi youth training. 2 years of propaganda films. She believed it like children believe fairy tales.
Greta Lindemann, 41, former military secretary, pulled out a small notebook, started writing, documenting everything. Greta had 2 daughters in Munich. She planned to survive and return to them. At 1800 hours, they were led to the mess hall. The smell hit them before they entered. Real food, cooking meat, baking bread, vegetables that weren't rotten. Elise's empty stomach clenched. They sat. American kitchen staff brought plates, vegetable soup with actual vegetables, white bread, soft and fresh, canned peaches in syrup, meat that looked like meat, milk in glass bottles, and on every table, glass jars filled with brown paste. Elise picked up the jar. The substance was thick, clinging to glass like grease, color of mud, label, peanut butter. What is this? Claudia whispered. Nobody knew. Lieutenant Dalton appeared, picked up a jar, opened it, took a spoon, scooped peanut butter directly, ate it like ice cream, closed her eyes like tasting something wonderful. Best thing in the world, she said through the interpreter. You'll love it.
The German women stared. Then Elise noticed something that made her blood run cold. Every American in the room was eating the same food. Not similar, identical. Officers, enlisted, kitchen staff, medical personnel. Same meals, same soup, same bread, same brown paste. In German camps this would never happen. Officers ate well. Guards ate adequately. Prisoners ate scraps. The hierarchy was absolute. But here, Sergeant Harper sat at a table next to a private, both eating identical meals, both spreading peanut butter. Harper made a sandwich, spread peanut butter thick on one slice, opened another jar with red contents, spread it on the second slice, pressed them together. PB&J, she said. Best lunch there is. She took a bite, chewed happily. Elise's mind raced. The newspapers had been clear. America was weak. Their economy collapsed. Their people starving. The war was bleeding them dry.
But starving people don't make butter from peanuts. Starving people don't have so much food, they turn legumes into spreadable paste. Either everything she'd been told was a lie, or this was the most elaborate deception in history. Lieutenant Hilda Fischer stood, 32, German medical officer, highest-ranking prisoner, Wehrmacht Medical Corps, true believer, rigid. She addressed the room in German. No one touches this food until I verify it's safe. This could be poison. This could be humiliation. We maintain discipline. We maintain dignity. We refuse. 31 women followed immediately. Conditioned obedience. 3 hesitated. Elise was one, but in the end, they complied. They ate bread, soup, milk, peaches, but the peanut butter sat untouched. From the medical office, Morrison watched, made a note. Day 1. Total refusal of peanut butter. Estimated intake, 800 calories. Insufficient. Continue observation. Do not force. That night, Elise couldn't sleep. The bed was soft, the blanket warm. She had a pillow. But her mind kept returning to those jars, the way Americans ate it with such pleasure. Why did they love it so much? And why did they give it to prisoners like it was nothing special? Tomorrow, she would watch more carefully, and if they kept eating it like that, maybe she would try it. Just one small taste, just to understand. What she didn't know was that one taste would change everything. November 13th, 1944. 0700 hours. Morning roll call. The German women stood in formation. November air cool but not cold. Elise stood in the third row, tired. 87 pounds was not enough to carry even her own skeleton. Lieutenant Fischer called roll in German. Military precision even in captivity. Then Ingrid Vogel swayed. 29, field surgeon, worst case. Body mass index 13.2, 79 pounds on a 5'4" frame. She swayed again. Eyes rolled back, collapsed. Morrison was out of the medical office before she hit ground. He'd been watching, waiting for this. Fingers on her throat, pulse fast and weak. 110 beats per minute, blood pressure critically low, skin cold. Get a gurney, IV equipment, phosphate, magnesium, thiamine. Dalton and Harper came running. They lifted Ingrid onto the gurney, rolled her to the clinic at a sprint. Under harsh lights, her condition became clear. Acute hypophosphatemia. Refeeding syndrome beginning even without aggressive feeding. Morrison inserted an IV line, hands steady despite urgency. Administered emergency electrolytes, watched her vitals. Pulse stabilized. Color returned. She opened her eyes. Morrison exhaled. Fischer stood in the doorway. Face neutral, hands shaking. Morrison turned to face her. The fury broke through. Your ideology is killing them. She almost died. Not from American cruelty, from your refusal to let them eat. We give them food, and you tell them it's poison. Fischer said nothing. Eat the damn food, all of you, or I'll order tube feeding. I'll force feed every woman in this camp if that's what it takes. Your choice, Lieutenant. He turned back to Ingrid, checked pulse again. Stronger. Fischer left without a word, but Elise had been in the hallway, watching everything. She'd seen Morrison sprint to save Ingrid, insert the IV with precision, administer medications without hesitation. She'd heard him yell at Fischer, not with cruelty, with the anger of a doctor watching his patient refuse treatment. Enemy doctors don't do this. Enemies let you die. Use your pain as a weapon. But this American had fought to save a German prisoner's life like she mattered. That night, Elise lay awake. She thought about Morrison's hands, steady, competent. She thought about the IV, the medications. She thought about the jars. Her body was screaming for nutrition. 18 months of starvation had created biological desperation that overrode ideology. She wanted to eat. She wanted to survive. Her hand slipped under her mattress, half a bread roll hidden from dinner. But what she really wanted was in the kitchen, in those jars, if she was brave enough to try. November 14th, 1944, 0300 hours. Elise couldn't sleep. Her body was screaming, not with pain, with hunger so deep it had become cellular. 18 months of starvation had rewired her biology. She slipped out of her bunk, the barracks dark, filled with sounds of sleeping women. She moved quietly to the kitchen. The door opened. Later, she would realize Dalton had left it unlocked on purpose. Inside, darkness. Moonlight through windows. On the counter, a row of jars, 20, maybe 30, surplus. Elise picked one up, glass cool in her hands, twisted the lid. It resisted, then gave with a soft pop. The smell rose, rich, nutty, slightly sweet. She dipped her finger in, just half a teaspoon, brought it to her mouth, tasted. Her world changed. It hit her system like electricity, salt and sweet in perfect balance, fat coating her tongue, her body recognizing real nutrition after endless deprivation. Protein her muscles were crying for. She closed her eyes and tasted her grandmother's kitchen in Stuttgart. Sunday afternoons before the war. Real butter, real bread, food that filled you. She tasted life. Her finger went back into the jar, more this time, then another. She sat on the kitchen floor, jar in lap, eating slowly, each spoonful deliberate, and crying. Not from sadness, from the shock of remembering what full feels like. She ate 4 spoonfuls, then forced herself to stop, put the jar back exactly where she found it, returned to her bunk, lay down with the taste still in her mouth. For the first time in 18 months, she felt something other than hunger. November 14th, 1944, 0800 hours, breakfast. Elise walked to the mess hall with the others, Claudia beside her, talking about weather. They sat at their table, same as yesterday. The food appeared. Oatmeal with brown sugar and raisins, toast, real butter, coffee, milk, and the jars. Elise looked at the jar in front of her, saw the other women staring at it like a test. Fisher sat at the next table, rigid, watching, maintaining discipline. Elise picked up the jar, twisted the lid, the pop of the seal, the smell. She spread peanut butter on toast, not hiding, doing it openly where everyone could see, then took a bite. Claudia stared. "What are you doing?" Elise chewed, swallowed. "I'm choosing to live. You're betraying the Reich. I'm eating food. If that's betrayal, then I'm a traitor." 6 other women watched, silent. Then Greta Lindemann reached for her jar, opened it, spread it on toast, took a bite. Her eyes closed. "Mein Gott, it tastes like when things were normal." Another woman reached for the jar, then another. Within 10 minutes, 12 women were eating peanut butter. Fisher stood. "This is weakness. Discipline requires—" Greta interrupted. 41 years old, mother of 2. "Hilda, discipline that kills you is not discipline. It's suicide. I have children in Germany. They need their mother alive, not ideologically pure and dead." She took another bite, maintained eye contact. Other women murmured agreement. Fisher's authority crumbled. Because ideology doesn't fill stomachs. She sat down, said nothing more. By breakfast end, 28 of 34 women had eaten peanut butter. Morrison watched from his office, made notes. Day 3. Breakthrough. 28 women consuming peanut butter. Average intake estimated 1,400 calories. Protocol proceeding as planned. November 17th, 1944. Dalton brought Morrison the weekly report. "Week 1 results, Captain." Morrison read. Average weight gain, 2.1 pounds per woman. Safe range achieved. Peanut butter consumption, 47 jars per week. Expected, 14 jars. Over 3 times projected amount. Mental status, marked improvement. Several women who'd been nearly catatonic, now conversing normally, showing personality. Physical symptoms, edema decreasing, hair loss slowing, body temperature normalizing. Several women reported menstruation returning. "This is working," Morrison said. "Yes, sir. Better than expected. Request increased allocation, 300%. That's a lot of peanut butter, Captain. They need it. We keep them supplied or risk regression." Morrison signed the report, added it to the growing file. The protocol. If this worked, if all 34 survived, he wanted a record. Something other doctors could use. Science, measurement, duplicable results. That's how you saved lives. November 20th, 1944. Harper stood in the mess hall, addressed the women through interpreter. New rationing policy. 1 jar per table per meal. Supply needs time to catch up. Silence. Then protests. 1 jar is not enough. We need more. 1 jar per table. 8 to 10 women sharing. 3 tablespoons per person per meal. Not enough. Would never be enough. Within 48 hours, an underground economy formed. The mathematics were brutal. Limited supply, high demand, value skyrockets. Cigarettes had been camp currency, but now a pack of 20 could only buy 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. Within a month, cigarette trades dropped 62%. Food trades increased 340%. Peanut butter became the new gold. Women traded everything: soap, chocolate, extra blankets, work assignments. Greta made the trade everyone would remember. She approached Elise one evening, face serious. "I have something to trade." She opened her hand. Silver earrings with small pearls. "My mother gave me these when I was 18. Before I married, I wore them on my wedding day. They're the only thing I have left." "What do you want?" 4 jars of peanut butter. 4 jars. 2 weeks' worth. "Greta, these are worth more than—" "No, not here, not now. In Germany they were valuable. Here they're metal and stone. But peanut butter is survival. My children getting their mother back." She pressed them into Elise's hand. That night Greta wrote in her diary, "Today I traded my mother's earrings, silver with small pearls. She gave them to me when I was 18. I wore them on my wedding day. I traded them for 4 jars of American peanut butter. I do not regret it. When I eat it, I feel human again. My body remembers strength. My mother always said food feeds the soul, not just the body. She would understand. If this makes me weak, then weakness is the only path to survival." Camp records documented the shift. November. Cigarettes dominant, 73% of transactions. December. Peanut butter dominant, 68% of transactions. The American guards watched with bemused confusion. To them, peanut butter was ordinary, childhood lunches, nothing special. But to the German women, it had become more valuable than gold, more powerful than any propaganda. December 1944. The library. Elise sat with Claudia. Between them, Life magazine. They looked at photographs that made their worldview impossible to maintain. Photo 1. American aircraft factory. Assembly line. Workers building bombers. Caption: 1944 production, 96,318 aircraft. Elise calculated. Germany produced roughly 40,000. America made 96,000. Ratio 2.4 to 1. Claudia's hands shook. That can't be right. Propaganda. Photo 2. American farm. Kansas. Golden wheat fields to the horizon. Caption: surplus wheat production. Government paying farmers not to grow more. Claudia read it 3 times. Paying not to grow? That makes no sense. It makes perfect sense. They have too much. Growing more would be waste. But Goebbels said America was starving. Elise said nothing. Let the photograph speak. Photo 3. American family dinner. Illinois. Mother, father, 3 children. The table. Roast beef, mashed potatoes, green beans, bread, butter, milk, apple pie. Portions enormous. More than Elise's family had seen in a month before war. The children, healthy, drinking milk like water. Not treasure, just normal. Claudia put her head in her hands. This can't be real. I don't know what I believe anymore, but I know we're eating American peanut butter, made from surplus, given freely to enemies. She looked at Claudia. Starving countries don't have surplus. Weak countries don't build 96,000 aircraft. Claudia's face crumpled. 22 years old, true believer, years of propaganda, all lies. She started crying, deep, gasping sobs. Elise put an arm around her shoulders. Everything we were told, Claudia whispered. All lies.
Yes. Why? Because truth wouldn't make us willing to die. That evening, Dalton found Elise in the recreation area. You've been studying, learning English, reading magazines. What do you think? Elise chose words carefully. I think my government lied. Very much. Dalton nodded. My family survived the Depression on peanut butter. 1932. I was 12. Banks failed. Father's farm. We tried cotton. Price collapsed. Corn. Couldn't sell it. Then he planted peanuts. The government bought them. We ate peanut butter every meal. 2 years. Sometimes peanut butter on bread was all we had. My brothers complained. My mother cried. But we survived. Other families lost everything. We held on. She looked at Elise. You think peanut butter is just food? It's survival. It's hope. It saved my family when nothing else could. You were poor, Elise said. Like us. Yes. But you survived. Because America had enough that even poor families could survive. That's the difference. Elise thought about this.
American poverty versus German poverty.
In Germany, if you are poor, you die. Here, if you are poor, you eat peanut butter. Dalton smiled sadly. That's about right.
May 8, 1945.
1500 hours. The radio crackled. All personnel stopped. Germany has surrendered unconditionally. The war in Europe is over. Silence for 3 seconds. Then American staff exploded. Cheering, crying, embracing. One guard collapsed into a chair, sobbing. He's coming home. My husband is coming home. Harper hugged Winslow, both crying. It's over. Morrison stood in his doorway, face neutral, eyes wet. The German women sat in silence. Claudia stared at her hands. We lost. Everything for nothing. Greta said quietly, not for nothing. We survived. Fisher sat alone, face in hands, shoulders shaking. Elise felt relief, shame, confusion, gratitude, all at once. That evening, Dalton did something unexpected, special dinner, and she suspended all rationing. When the women entered the mess hall, they stopped in shock. Every table, 4, 5 jars of peanut butter, bread, jam, butter, more food than they'd seen at once, unlimited. Dalton raised a jar.
To peace, to soldiers coming home, to never needing prison camps again.
Elise stood. Her English was good now. To peace, and to plenty. The word felt strange. Plenty. In German they said genug, enough. But they didn't have a word for more than enough. Maybe because they'd never experienced it. Later, mail arrived. First in 6 months. Elise received 1 envelope, her mother's handwriting. She opened it with shaking hands. My dearest Elise, Stuttgart is gone. You would not recognize it. British bombed us in February. Our neighborhood is rubble. The apartment where you grew up, destroyed. Your father died in the bombing. February 14th. He is buried in a mass grave with 200 others. I live with your Aunt Margareta in the countryside. We eat potato peels and hope. I weigh 82 pounds. Neighbors steal food from each other. Children beg American soldiers for chocolate.
Old men cry when they receive bread from enemy soldiers who feed us when our own government cannot.
The radio lied to us, Elise. They told us America was weak, starving. But Americans send us food. The enemy feeds us. I dream of bread every night, real bread, like before the madness. Stay alive, my daughter. Come home when you can. I need you. Your loving Mutti. Elise read this holding a peanut butter sandwich. The contrast was unbearable. She ate while her mother starved. She gained weight while her mother wasted to 82 pounds. The guilt crushed her. Greta found her crying. What's wrong? Elise showed the letter. Greta read it, sat heavily. My daughter's in Munich. The same. What kind of people are we? We eat while they starve. The kind who survive, Greta said. That's what she wants. Not noble death. Not ideological purity. Just survival. Just their children alive. But the guilt remained.
January 1947. 18 months after war's end.
Elise stood in Morrison's office, reviewing her final chart. Patient, Elise Weber. Age, 27. Initial, November 12, 1944. Weight, 87 pounds. BMI 14.0. Final, January 3, 1947. Weight 122 pounds. BMI 19.7. 35 pounds gained, from dying to living. Morrison sat across from her, grey in his hair now, lines around his eyes, but hands still steady. You're healthy, medically cleared for repatriation. Yes. All 34 women, 100% survival, 0 refeeding syndrome fatalities. The protocol worked better than projected. He opened a drawer, pulled out a manila folder. This is for you. Complete protocol, every calculation, every decision, 47 pages. He set it down. Also, medical textbooks, nutrition, emergency medicine, everything I think you'll need. Another stack. And this, a letter, official letterhead. Letter of recommendation.
Says you're one of the finest nurses I've worked with. Any hospital would be fortunate to have you. It's the truth.
Elise read it. Her English was fluent now. Thank you. What will you do in Germany? Find my mother, help her recover, find work as a nurse. Will you use the protocol? Yes. Germany is full of people like I was. Your protocol can save them. It's not my protocol anymore. It's ours. You lived it. You understand it. You take it home. You adapt it. You save lives. He stood, extended his hand. They shook. Doctor and former patient. American and German. Started as enemies, ended as colleagues. Make it count, Morrison said. I will.
That afternoon, Dalton found Elise.
Tomorrow you leave. Yes. We can sponsor you, help you stay in America, work as a nurse here. Veterans hospitals need staff. You speak English, you have skills, you could build a life. New start, no bombed cities, no starvation, just opportunity. Elise had thought about this. It was tempting. My mother weighs 82 pounds. She lives in ruins. She lost her husband, her home, everything. I am all she has left. You don't owe Germany anything. They lied to you, used you. I do not owe Germany. I owe my mother. That is different. Dalton nodded, understanding but disappointed. She pulled out a recipe card, handwritten. How to make peanut butter, for when you have peanuts again, for when life is normal. At the bottom, for Elise, for when plenty returns. Your friend, F. Dalton. Elise took the card, held it like treasure. Thank you, for everything, for saving my life. Thank the peanut butter, and yourself.
You did the hard part.
January 20th, 1947. Farewell dinner. The mess hall was decorated. Paper flowers the women had made, garlands across the ceiling, tables loaded with food, more than any had seen at once. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, fresh bread, desserts, and on every table, more peanut butter jars than they'd ever seen. 10 jars per table, 40 tables, 400 jars. Take them, Dalton announced. Take as many as you can carry. Elise packed 6 jars, wrapped each carefully in clothes, packed in her small suitcase. Harper pressed 2 more into her hand. Extra, don't tell the others. 8 jars total. Winslow gave her a book, English-German Medical Dictionary, for your work. Morrison made a speech. The interpreter translated. You came expecting the worst, came prepared to die, came as enemies. You leave healthy, educated, as people we've come to respect. The war made us enemies. Common humanity made us something else. Take what you've learned, use it, save lives. Make the protocol mean something. Remember that medicine doesn't have a nationality. Healing doesn't have a flag. Good luck, all of you. January 21st, 1947. The voyage. 12 days crossing the Atlantic, America to Europe, freedom to ruins. The women rationed peanut butter carefully, 1 spoonful per day. Greta wrote in her diary every evening. January 28, 1947, Mid-Atlantic, Day 8. Each spoonful is a memory. I taste Alabama spring, mess hall tables, Dalton's kindness, Morrison's competence. The moment I realized everything I believed was backwards, I taste truth. Soon we return to a Germany that no longer exists, to rebuild a nation built on lies. But we carry something dangerous. We know what plenty tastes like. We know what abundance looks like. They cannot unteach us that. We are going home changed, not just in body, changed in understanding. We know now that our strength was their weakness, that our certainty was their doubt, and we know it not from propaganda, not from speeches, but from peanut butter, from measurable, tasteable, undeniable reality.
February 15th, 1947. Mid-Atlantic, Day 25.
A scream from the lower deck. Elise ran with others, found Lieutenant Hilda Fisher in her cabin, dead. Empty pill bottle beside her, sleeping pills hoarded over months. A letter on the small table, her handwriting, neat, precise. Elise read it. I cannot live in a world where everything I believed was a lie. I believed in the Reich, in German superiority, in the Führer's vision. But they fed us when we expected cruelty, healed us when we expected death, treated us like humans when we treated them like enemies. I was wrong, about everything. My entire life built on lies. I chose the wrong side. I chose evil. I participated in evil. I cannot forgive myself. I cannot live with this knowledge. Perhaps God will have mercy. Hilda Fischer, Lieutenant, Wehrmacht Medical Corps, February 15th, 1947. The women stood in silence. Ship captain ruled it suicide. Allowed burial at sea with military honors. German flag. Moment of silence.
As Fisher's body slipped into the Atlantic, Greta whispered, "She died because truth was too heavy." She shows us what happens when lies become your foundation. When they shatter, you shatter. Elise thought, that could have been me, but we chose differently. We chose to carry the weight of truth. Fisher chose to escape it. Both choices from the same breaking point, same realization, but only one led to survival.
March 3rd, 1947. Stuttgart. The train pulled in at dawn. Elise stepped onto the platform. Stuttgart was gone. 75% destroyed. Block after block of rubble. Buildings collapsed. Walls standing alone. Shells of structures. People moved through ruins like ghosts. Thin, grey, defeated. She found her aunt's farmhouse. 2 hours by foot. Roads damaged. Her mother waited at the door. They saw each other from a distance. Her mother looked 80. She was 52. 82 pounds on a 5'4" frame. BMI 13.3, same as Ingrid had been. Her mother was dying. They embraced without words. Inside, Elise unpacked, pulled out a jar of peanut butter. Her mother stared. What is this? Peanut butter. American food. They ate it every day, gave it to us, even prisoners. Elise opened it, the familiar smell, spread it on dark bread, heavy, dense, made from mixed grains and sawdust. Taste it. Her mother took a small bite, chewed slowly.
Face transformed. This is American?
Yes. They eat this every day? Gave it to prisoners? Yes, Mama, every day, everyone, all the same food. Her mother took another bite, tears running. We were told they had nothing. The radio said they were starving, but this tastes like wealth, like abundance. Because it is, Mama. They have so much they make butter from peanuts. Everything we were told was backwards. They have everything, we have nothing. That is the truth. Her mother ate half, pushed the rest toward Elise. You eat, you need strength. We share, both need strength. They split it. That night, Elise calculated. 8 jars. If they shared carefully, 2 months, 10 weeks. Enough time to find work, start earning. Enough time to implement the protocol.
March 10th, 1947. Stuttgart General Hospital. Elise walked into the administrator's office, introduced herself. Former Wehrmacht nurse, captured, imprisoned in America, returned, looking for work. The administrator looked suspicious. How did they treat you? They fed us, gave medical care, treated us like patients, not prisoners. His face hardened. You sound like you sympathize with the enemy. I sympathize with competence, with doctors who do their jobs regardless of politics. If that makes me sympathetic, then yes. She set Morrison's letter down. Letter of recommendation, from the American doctor who saved my life, and 33 others, 100% survival. He read it. Expression shifted. You were starving? 87 pounds, BMI 14, 6 weeks to live without intervention. He developed systematic refeeding protocol, saved all of us. She pulled out the folder, Morrison's protocol, 47 pages. This is the protocol. Every calculation, every decision, 14 months of data. It works. I lived it. He stared. Why show me this? Because Germany is full of people like I was. Your emergency ward is overwhelmed. They need this. You want to implement American methods in a German hospital. I want to implement methods that work. I don't care what nationality. Medicine doesn't have a flag. Long silence. The emergency ward needs nurses desperately. We lost most staff in the war. If you can start Monday, the position is yours. I'll start tomorrow. 1947 to 1950. The work. Elise worked 14-hour days, 6 days a week. Emergency ward chaos, starvation victims, tuberculosis, dysentery, injuries from collapsed buildings. She implemented Morrison's protocol systematically. Patient intake, height, weight, BMI calculation, severity assessment, treatment plan. Week 1, 1,200 calories. Week 2, 1,500. Week 3, 1,800. Weeks 4 through 12, gradual increase. Daily monitoring, weight, vitals, mental status. Adjust as needed. She trained other nurses, taught medical students, explained calculations, reasoning, progression. They called it the Morrison method. Most didn't know where it came from. Elise corrected them every time. This protocol was developed by Captain Robert Morrison, United States Army Medical Corps, an American doctor, an enemy who became a healer. We use his method because it works. Medicine doesn't care about nationality. Over 3 years, she treated 203 German starvation victims using Morrison's exact protocol. 203 patients, 203 survivors, 0 refeeding syndrome fatalities. In 1948, she published a paper, Systematic Refeeding Protocol for Severe Malnutrition, Clinical Results from 203 Cases. She credited Morrison in the first paragraph. The paper was reprinted in American medical journals. Morrison wrote her, Dear Elise, I read your paper with immense pride. You took pain and turned it into healing. You took what happened to you and used it to save lives. That is what good doctors do. 203 people are alive because you remembered, because you documented, because you had the courage to use methods from a former enemy. I am proud of you, honored to have played a small part in your story. Keep saving lives, keep teaching, keep spreading the truth that medicine has no nationality. Your colleague, Robert Morrison, MD. She kept the letter in her desk, read it when work became overwhelming. The letter reminded her she was making a difference. 203 differences. June 1948, Berlin. Soviets blockaded West Berlin. Cut off all ground access. 2 million trapped. American response, the Berlin airlift. Planes flying into Tempelhof every 3 minutes, day and night, bringing food, medicine, coal. Elise volunteered at distribution, Stuttgart to Berlin, 2 days by train, 1 week unpaid leave. The warehouse was organized chaos, American soldiers directing German civilians. She watched children receive care packages. One boy, maybe 8, opened a box, pulled out items, canned milk, dried fruit, chocolate, then a jar, glass,
brown paste. Was ist das? What is this? An American soldier knelt down, young, 22 maybe. Peanut butter. It's good. Try it. The boy opened it, smelled it, uncertain, dipped his finger in, tasted.
His face transformed. Confusion became surprise, became joy. The same expression Elise had felt on her own face in November 1944. The soldier smiled. Good, right? The boy nodded, took another fingerful. Elise watched and understood. This was not just history repeating. This was the cycle breaking. In 1944, she and 33 women had to unlearn lies before they could taste truth. The lies made them refuse food, made them nearly die from ideology. But this child had no lies to unlearn, no propaganda to overcome, just abundance he could taste immediately. The difference between her generation and his: she had to break through walls to reach truth. He was born on the other side. That was victory, not military, liberation of the mind. One generation freed from lies meant the next never imprisoned by them. She wrote to Morrison that night, "I finally understand what we accomplished. Not just survival, prevention. We documented truth so thoroughly that lies cannot take root again. The protocol is proof. Peanut butter is evidence. Our lives are testimony. That is how you kill ideology permanently. Not with counter-propaganda, with undeniable reality." 1972, Munich. Lieutenant Francis Dalton died of cancer, age 61. Funeral in Mobile, Alabama. Greta attended. Flew from Munich. Her daughters helped pay. She spoke at the funeral, with interpreter, though her English was good. Francis Dalton gave us peanut butter when we deserved nothing. She gave us kindness when we expected cruelty. She gave us second chances when we had forfeited every right to mercy. She thought it was just food, just her job, just doing what needed to be done. But it was truth. It was proof that everything we had been told was a lie. It was freedom, one spoonful at a time. She died, never fully knowing what she did for us, how she changed us, how her simple act of competence destroyed an ideology that millions died for. We came as enemies. We left as students. And the lesson she taught cannot be untaught. Rest in peace, Lieutenant. You won a war without firing a shot. 1995. Stuttgart Historical Museum. Exhibit opened on 50th anniversary of war's end. Camp Aliceville, the protocol that saved lives and shattered lies. Elise's granddaughter, Anna, helped curate it. Display case contained Morrison's original protocol, handwritten, 47 pages, yellowed but preserved. Empty peanut butter jar from November 1944, donated by Greta's estate. Elise's medical journal, 3 years of entries. Morrison's letter from 1948, framed. Dalton's recipe card, a photograph, January 1947. Elise, Dalton, Morrison, Harper, Winslow, smiling, arms around each other, former enemies, current friends. The plaque. In 1944, 34 German women arrived at Camp Aliceville, weighing an average of 87 pounds. Captain Robert Morrison developed a systematic refeeding protocol that saved all 34 lives. His methods became standard medical practice worldwide. But his greatest achievement was moral. He treated enemies like patients, prisoners like human beings, ideology like irrelevant noise. He did his job with excellence, and excellence destroyed lies more effectively than any propaganda. The peanut butter they refused became the truth they could not deny. Simple, measurable, undeniable, real. Anna stood beside her grandmother. Elise was 80 now, white hair, thin but healthy, sharp-eyed. "Tell me again, Oma, about the peanut butter." Elise smiled. "I have told you 100 times." "Tell me again." 1998. The interview. Oral history project, Stuttgart University. Documenting the last who remembered. Elise sat in a comfortable chair, camera recording. Young interviewer.
25, maybe. What did you learn from peanut butter? Elise had answered this before, but the answer remained the same. I learned that truth has a taste. Propaganda is thin, watery, it fills nothing, promises everything, delivers nothing. You can live on it for a while, but eventually you starve. But truth is thick and rich. It sticks to you, it nourishes you, it keeps you alive. I learned that a good doctor treats the patient, not the politics. Morrison could have let us die. Regulations would have allowed it. We were enemy prisoners. We deserved nothing. But he did not see German prisoners. He saw malnourished patients. He saw human beings whose bodies were failing. And he did his job. I learned that small acts of competence matter more than grand gestures.
Morrison did not give speeches about humanity. He calculated calories. He monitored vitals. He adjusted protocols. He did his job with excellence. That excellence saved us. And I learned that the opposite of propaganda is not counter-propaganda. It is peanut butter. It is measurable, repeatable, undeniable reality. You cannot argue with a full stomach. You cannot deny abundance you taste on your tongue. 50 years later, I still keep that jar. Empty now, but it reminds me. Truth is not what you are told. Truth is what you can touch, taste, measure, verify. That is what peanut butter taught me. That is what Captain Morrison taught me. That is what I teach my grandchildren. The truth will cost you everything you thought you knew, but it will feed you for the rest of your life. The interviewer was quiet. Do you still eat peanut butter? Elise laughed. Every morning, on toast, with honey. My great-grandchildren think I'm strange. Why does Urgroßmutter eat American food for breakfast? I tell them, this is not American food, this is truth food. This is the food that taught me to think for myself, to question what I am told, to verify before I believe. That is worth eating every single day. The camera stopped. Elise sat back, tired but satisfied. She had told the truth. Again. As she had been telling it for 50 years, to patients, to students, to colleagues, to her children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. The truth about peanut butter, about Morrison, about Dalton and Harper and Winslow, about the American enemy who became healers. She would keep telling it until she could not speak any more. Because some truths are too important to let die, some lessons too valuable to forget, and some acts of competence, of simple human decency, of doing your job well, regardless of politics, deserve to be remembered forever.
Where are they now? Claudia Brenner returned to Hamburg, became history teacher, told students the truth about the war despite criticism, died 1989, age 67. Her daughter donated her letters to Hamburg Historical Archive. Ingrid Vogel emigrated to America 1950. Married American medic she met during repatriation processing. Opened clinic in Vermont, treating refugees and immigrants. Died 1994, age 76. Greta Lindemann. Reunited with daughters in Munich. Published memoir 1952, Peanut Butter and Propaganda. Became bestseller in West Germany. Died 1992, age 86. Her diary is preserved in Munich State Archives. Captain Robert Morrison. Continued Army medical service through Korean War. Retired 1960, rank of colonel. Consulted for World Health Organization on malnutrition protocols. His methods saved thousands in refugee camps worldwide. Died 1985, age 79. Buried with full military honors. Arlington National Cemetery. Lieutenant Francis Dalton. Returns to Alabama 1946. Worked Veterans Administration Hospital Nutrition Department. Married 1948, 2 daughters. Remained in contact with several German women until her death. Died 1972, age 61, cancer. Her family donated her letters and recipe cards to National Archives. Sergeant Louise Harper. Left Army 1946. Opened small restaurant in Oklahoma. Famous for peanut butter pie served daily. employed several German immigrants in 1950s, died 1988, age 64. Elise Weber, chief nurse, Stuttgart General Hospital, 1947 to 1980, treated over 2,000 malnutrition patients using Morrison protocol, published 17 papers on systematic refeeding, trained 3 generations of German nurses, awarded Federal Cross of Merit 1975, died 2001, age 83. Her protocol manual is still used in German medical schools.